Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's We Roguelike It, the show we play every roguelike in history. This time we're talking about Curse of the Dead Gods. I'm your host, Boston, playing this on the Xbox Series X. I'm joined as always by Moonpeer.
Howdy. Same. Xbox Series X over here too.
Yeah, thankfully on Game Pass, which is where I found this game had come out of early access, which is nice. I haven't finished a run in this game yet. I'm still halfway through my first run here, largely because the tutorial is I don't think it's overly lengthy, but I think it's fairly long in kind of a positive way. Boy, the art style here is real good looking immediately. I like that intro shot of just the doorway as he's climbing up the cliff there. I'm having trouble with this. This is really early, so take some of this with a grain of salt. But like, it feels like the combat feels pretty good. Like melee and shooting and all that feels good. I don't know how I feel so far about you having essentially three weapons. So you have your sword, your gun, and then your torch. And the torch.
Okay, the torch is not a weapon.
Yeah, the game like tries to tell you it's a weapon, but I don't mind going into a room to light a bunch of braziers to light up the room so that you can fight enemies. I think that's fairly interesting. The part that rubbed me the wrong way nearly immediately is when an enemy destroyed one of them.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Okay, sure. Okay. That's frustrating pretty immediately.
Yup.
There's some interesting stuff that I think the game can do with that. Like I got my first curse, and the game seems like it's building up curses kind of as you go. So I got my first curse, and I had like one option was enemies will do more damage to you, but you do like 50% more damage when you're in the darkness. I was like, all right, that's interesting. I could see that there's this kind of push-pull here.
Yeah.
But that was a real early on thing where I'm like, I don't know about that. How are you feeling about this so far? Sort of early days here.
So from what I can tell, I have done the basic level 1 run already.
Okay.
So far this is the complete opposite to Ironcast, which is to say
right.
This is easy compared to Ironcast.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What also helps and doesn't help at the same time in this instance is the fact that Hades just came out.
So I'm going to talk about this too in the main show. This will be episode 721. Now I'm playing 3 games at the moment that all control the same. This, Hades, and Boyfriend Dungeon. I'm having a really hard time switching between all 3 of them.
I'm glad I didn't start Boyfriend Dungeon yet then, because the one good thing is this controls kind of similarly to Hades. So the biggest difference is it's slower.
Yes, much slower.
Hades is like this on speed, so so it's actually pretty good to be able to go from Hades to this and be like, okay, I've got my Hades reactions on. The only downside to that is you tend to dodge and parry a little bit too early because Hades moves so much quicker.
Right.
So it's one of those things where I'm getting used to doing that now. But so far, it's fine so far for me. Like I beat the first boss. I think, don't hold me to this, but I think when you get to the end of the first run, there's a portal that appears. I think if you go in the portal, it ends the run.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
If you go through the door, I think it continues the run, so you continue deeper and deeper into the dungeon kind of thing.
Interesting. Okay.
and it wipes your curses.
Ah, okay. All right. So if things get a little too spicy, you're like, ah, look, I'm just gonna I'm gonna clock out here. This isn't gonna make it.
Yeah, but on the flip side, if you have a hell of a good build going on,
Right.
then it's a good chance to make it further and further.
Right. I like when you get your first curse, the game is like, hey man, some of these curses can be pretty good. That last curse, though, you probably don't want to do that. That one's going to be real bad. It's like, oh boy,
Hmm.
okay. Keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, so far it seems like it's doing its best to do the balancing between difficulty and upgrades and things like that. It
Right.
does have the hiding feature, um, like where when you do complete your first run, you can unlock weapons that appear in the dungeon. So I
Oh,
don't know if
right.
you've heard this before,
Right,
like
right.
a certain Necrodancer game, and then
Right.
you can opt if you don't like those weapons, you can
Great.
opt to have them not show up.
That's great.
So there is a good option in there for that. You can also start with blessings, so I'm already seeing the upgrade path ahead of time kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of path, I actually really like the like almost FTL style map when you finished a room and you're picking another one. I like that you can
Hmm.
kind of see essentially where you're going. I think Slay the Spire does this pretty well too, from what I've seen. I like that a lot, as opposed to, we're both playing Hades right now because it came out on other consoles. Um, so that's a different Hades takes a different approach to it. We're sort of like, all right, here are these two doorways. Who knows what's going to come up next? Anyways, pick a door. I kind of like this approach where it's, here you can kind of start making a path through the dungeon if you want to maybe take a door that isn't great here, but that'll give you more options in the future. I dig that a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and honestly, it's all good so far.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not perfect, it's not terrible. Like it seems pretty interesting so far.
Hmm.
So I'm looking forward to doing some experimenting and seeing how it goes, kind of thing.
Yeah, and see if it the thing that is always kind of my concern. I don't really want to borrow trouble, but my concern is always, we have a good first couple runs, everything's great, but like when the rubber meets the road, after you start getting your skill starts getting better and you start getting more upgrades, like, do we hit that everything is terrible moment from Isaac where it's
Hmm.
like, all right, I feel pretty great, and the game just kind of like pushes her face into the mud? I'm curious to see if that happens, or if this will be kind of a more, not an easier. I mean, anything's easier after Ironcast, but is this going to be like an easier kind of a slower uphill climb than something else?
Hmm.
Yeah. Piece of programming news here before we send everybody on our way. We're going to make a little bit of a change here to how these episodes are released. We're still going to do our 4 weekly episodes here, like we have been doing for more years than I think I would like to think. And then normally, when episode 4 launches, we do our ranking episode. We're going to release that on the 5th week now. So we'll do weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then next week, we'll have a standalone ranking episode along by itself. Moon and I don't really want to put too many words in Moon's mouth, but we've been talking lately about. We do a lot of shows, and most of them
Uh-huh.
have homework. So
Uh-huh.
we've been doing them for a long time, and we're really feeling the pressure here. Not like, not the pressure to do them, but the pressure of like, well, we're doing X number of shows
How
that.
many games and how many shows and things do we
Right.
watch and play per day?
Yeah, so this is the first step in kind of easing this pressure on us. Now we're going to get a week off every month, and with the ranking episodes getting longer here, you still get like a full episode here on the 5th week, and it gives us a kind of a breather here. And we don't get these games for free, so save us a little bit of cash too. Because roguelikes are not always on Game Pass or like $5, so. Uh,
Yup.
Yeah, so that you'll see that here for Curse of the Dead Gods, and let us know once that comes out. Let us know how you feel, whether you're a patron or not. Appreciate everybody's feedback, and we'll see you all next run. Bye.
Boy.